Oh, wow! Rich, juicy, tender salmon, topped with a layer of crispy, lemony, garlic, and panko. With just a few ingredients, it only takes minutes to prepare, and then it's simply baked. I know it's a dish the whole family will enjoy. So come on, let's try it. Panko salmon, and I promise, it's the bestest. Hello, today we're going to be working on a recipe for something very easy and simple that I hope you'll like. It's called Panko Salmon. You do too. Let's take a look at what we're using today for the ingredients. So we're starting off with a filet of salmon. I got this at the local grocery store. It comes frozen. It's a one continuous piece of salmon filet. This one does have the skin on, but it's cut into portions. But you can use any type of fish. We like salmon, so that's what we're going to use today. We're also going to use some lemon zest. These are lemons. This lemon's from my mom and dad's tree. It's full of juice. We're also going to be using a few cloves of garlic, some black pepper, some salt, a little bit of mild flavored oil. This happens to be grapeseed oil, but you can use any type of oil and even butter. And the most important thing, actually, the panko. Okay, so we've taken the salmon out of the package, and if you take a look at it, this salmon is wild Pacific salmon. It's not farm raised, and there's no color added to it. So you might look at the fish and say, oh, it's not as vibrant as some others, but they haven't added any artificial coloring to it. And then you can see it does have the skin on, which my husband loves, and there are no scales on it. We top the salmon with the panko mixed with the other seasonings. And it's kind of like the same way you would top an au gratin dish. Normally when we think of panko fish or panko shrimp or panko chicken, we coat the entire piece of meat and fry it. But the panko in this recipe is just going to be a topping. It's really crispy, flavorful, and it's so good. So let's get started. First thing we have to do is zest a lemon. Now, zesting a lemon is pretty easy. What you want to do is start with a beautiful lemon like this one. And what you're trying to do is get some of the yellow part of the peel off without getting any of the white pith underneath. I'm just using a normal kitchen grater for this. I'm using the smaller side. You can also use a microplane or even a really sharp knife to cut some thin strips from the lemon peel. And what you want to end up with is about a tablespoon of lemon zest. In addition to the lemon zest, we're also going to crush some garlic. I'm using 2 or 3 cloves here, but just do whatever feels best to you. If you like garlic, you can put more. You can also use granulated garlic or granulated dried onion, whatever you think would taste good with your fish. This is what we're going to use today. Okay, so now that we've crushed the garlic and zested the lemon, what we're gonna do is season and oil the fish a little bit, and we'll mix all the stuff with the panko. I'll show you how I do it. So I put a little bit of oil underneath the fish on the skin side, just right into the pan. The skin has a lot of good, healthy oils in it, but I like the addition of oil onto the pan just to maybe crisp up the skin a little bit. And then I also apply some to the top of the fish. After you've coated both sides of the fish with some oil, you're going to season it. In this recipe, I'm using just salt and pepper. You can also use additional spices like dill or red chili flakes. It's all going to be delicious. Right now, though, we're just going to stick with the salt and pepper, and then I'll show you what I do with the garlic.
A lot of the flavor from this dish will come from the panko topping, but I am still going to put about half of the garlic we crushed onto the surface of the fish itself. You can see I just use my hands to smear it around, make sure it's well distributed, and then in just a second we'll go ahead and mix together the ingredients for the panko.
Now the rest of the ingredients, the zest, the garlic, salt and pepper, we're going to add to about a cup of panko. And so let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to use all of the zest. It's very flavorful. And the only thing you have to be careful about is if you use something like a lime instead of a lemon, it might be a little bitter. Sometimes the zest is bitter. And then the rest of the garlic. We like to use our hands when we cook. So I'm going to get a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, and then we're gonna use some of this oil. You can use butter instead of oil. The oil will not only help the breadcrumbs to crisp up and become crunchy, but it's also a little bit of a flavoring and helps to cook some of the garlic and the lemon zest in there. I'm generous with the oil. If you use butter, I would be generous with it too.
So I've used about 3 tablespoons of oil for this. You can use the equivalent in melted butter. And it's better to have it a little bit oilier and instead of dry.
Okay, and then we're just gonna mix it all together. When you mix panko crumbs, you don't want to crush them. The thing about using panko compared to regular breadcrumbs is they are very light, airy. The crumb texture itself is longer than a normal breadcrumb. It's not as fine, it's chunkier. And we just want to mix everything together. And that's really going to add a lot of flavor to the fish when it's on top. And now we're just going to top it. We don't want to press it down. We want to make sure it's light and fluffy. That's one of the great things about this dish is when you bite into the panko, it's not a dense, hard layer. It's light, it's fluffy, and it's so crunchy, and it's good. Okay, looks like the salmon's all ready to go. We've got the panko topping on top of it, and it's ready to be baked in the oven.
We're going to bake the salmon at 350 for about 15 minutes. Then we'll stop and check it, see how it's doing, and we'll go from there. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes, and you can see the panko topping is already starting to brown. It smells so good. I want to check to see if the thickest portion of the salmon is cooked. So what I normally do is just use a butter knife, and I just kind of pry to see if it flakes easily. This looks pretty good, but I'm going to give it another 5-6 minutes or so, and you can just cover it back up with the panko. We'll put it back in the oven.
Now I told you that the lemons came from my mom and dad's tree. And they also have a lime tree. So every year they always give us a lot of citrus, lemon, limes, oranges, tangerines. And my husband makes pickled lemons. They're very delicious. We'll have a video about how to make them coming soon.
It's been a few minutes and we're checking. It looks like the topping is crispy, golden, smells garlicky and lemony. Perfect. Let's take it out.
Looks pretty good. Can't wait to try it.
You guys, this smells so good. We have to taste it. Okay, let's get a piece, put it on our plate, and where's my fork?
This looks really delicious. I can't wait to try it. Like I said, it smells amazing. So let's go ahead and squeeze a little bit of lemon on, even though I know the lemon zest already gave it a lot of flavor. We'll just taste it. Yeah, it's really tender, super crunchy. I know I'm gonna make a mess, but here we go. Mmm. 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 Wow. That's really good. Mmm. Mmm. The combination, the crispy, crunchy salmon, delicious hot steamed vegetables and rice. It's so good. Kind of healthy, but super delicious. Gotta have another bite. Mmm. I love it. Mmm. That's good.
Guys, why aren't you here? We could be eating this delicious panko salmon together. It tastes lemony, garlicky, it's crispy and crunchy. Of course, the salmon is buttery, rich. It's delicious. I really hope you try this recipe. I think you and your family will enjoy it as much as I did. Just remember, it was made with love from me to you, and I promise, if you try this, you'll know. It's the bestest.